Hi everyone, it is me, Sailor Moon, Serena here, and today I'm going to talk about what would you think if I told you there would have been a live drawing Sailor Moon show, which would have been handled by Toon makers and Renaissance Atlantic, or New Birth, West Sea, um, that would be what some folks call Siobhan Moon, but Siobhan had nothing to do with it. And it is a, um, seemed to be a big thing in a Sailor Moon followership because there doesn't really seem to be that much about it. Um, First off, the saga and tale behind this Sailor Moon goes way back to between 94 YL when Toei was working on getting Sailor Moon into the English speaking world. Um, it was at the time um, between the folks at Toon Makers and Renaissance Atlantic or New Birth West Sea who worked with Siobhan for the Mike Keeper shows and worked with Disney for the Mike Keeper shows. Anyway, we'll just say that it was something that never came to be. And it is true that Toei did give them a deal to work with the show, but then the show got pulled when it was known that it would be not that it would be worth too much to make a show that was half live drawing, half live show. And that was the end of it. But there are folks out there who do a lot of working, asking around to learn about why this Sailor Moon never came into being and who had the first ever film of it. Now, there was one film made of it. Yes, that one film never saw the light of day, that is true, but it was one film or a pitch or a pickup for any farseer folk work out there at the time that wanted to get something. Now, this show would have been on Fox. It was made, that was the deal, and Fox was going to get it. But sadly, it never came into being, except for some drawings here and there, and except for, the first layout of the show. That's really all there seems to be. Now, a lot of folks out there a lot of folks out there like to bitch about how Deacon Cloverway didn't stay shifted things around and they should have just kept things the way they did, the way the Viz did, years later. Now, you folks that would have bitched about the Deacon, the Cloverway handling of Sailor Moon and give onlook to the Viz handling of Sailor Moon would have been bitching about how Toon makers and the folks at Renaissance Atlantic handled Sailor Moon. First off, my name, and I have many names, but my name in that world would have been Rebecca, or whatever. That's a running name, but that would have been my name. And you folks that always bitch about me having too many names and wish I was called this, and I'm not going to get into it because I did make a film talking about my name being Serena, Usagi being my middle name, and all that other stuff, would have bitched about that. Then you also would have known that Luna would have been in it, but instead of being the blue or the black cat, she would have been a white cat. Yes, Tuxedo Mask, or King and Kingling Endymion, or Kingling Darien, whatever you want to call him, would have been in it too. My mother would have been in it. Queen Serenity would have been in it. A lot of the other sailor fighters would have been in it. They would have been offshooted a little unlike from how they were from their Toei cells. And yes, Queen Beryl would have been in it. Now, some of you folks out there that would have been the one you would have bitched about. That would have been the one you would have said, Oh, I don't like this live work, half live drawing show. I wish there would have someone would have just put it in English. But then you wouldn't have been happy with it. Now, there isn't really much out there about it. And for those who do all the hard work, you know, to uh, to learn about it, to good luck. Because there's not really that much you can know about it. You know, except that it was Toon makers and Renaissance Atlantic or New Birth West Seas wanted to get the rights to work with Sailor Moon, but it was worth too much for them. And at the end of the day, all three sides just knew it would be more cheaper if Deke and later on Clover would get the rights to just put it in English. Now, at the end of the day, did I ever? At the end of the day, it's one of those missing offshoots of Sailor Moon. It's not. I mean, it's talked about from time to time, and it's never saw the light of day. And you might think that, well, Toei has ownership over it. In some way, they do. But you would think that they would show it out one day, free out the first offshoot of that film, but it never ever happened. It's under lock and key. It's underneath a lock, I guess. The same way that some folks say that Deacon Cloverway Sailor Moon has been put in lock. So it would have been cool to see how that Sailor Moon would have played out. And a mistake that a lot of folks like to make, they like to call it Siobhan Moon, but that wasn't true. Siobhan had nothing to do with it. If you're going to call it by the name, it would have truly been called Toon Maker's Moon or Renaissance Atlantic Moon or New Birth West Sea Sailor Moon would have been what it would have been called, because that would have been the business that handled it. Now, I know some of you folks out there would think, some of you folks are going to say, when you said half live action, half live work. You said half live work, half live drawing, meaning that it would have been an offshoot almost close to the Mic Keepers. Yeah, that was the thought. Have the live, have the live work on one side of it, and when it would shapeshift, then it would shift over to the live drawing. That would have been how it would have been handled. And I know some folks out there would have loved it, some would have hated it. But it's just one of those offshoots of my show that no need how much hard work one puts in, one will never ever learn everything about it. And there are folks out there who do put in the work to learn more about it. And at the end of the day, you're only going to get some of it. and as of today, it is still one of those missing offshoots of my show, which is half owned by Toei, Naiko Taguchi, and Toei, which had never seen a light of day. Which was the first offshoot of what would have been an English offshoot of Sailor Moon, which would have been a Sailor Moon that would have been the one that folks would have saw and watched if it wasn't for it being worth too much. So, tell me what you think about Toon Maker Sailor Moon or Renaissance Atlantic Sailor Moon, and what you know about it, which is probably as much as I know about it. So anyway, that's it for me. And if you like that film, then follow me over here at, Sailor Moon for Life. Or watch the last film I made yesterday over here, when Sailor Earth fought Dr. Doom or Healer Doom. I, Sailor Moon, Serena, and I'll see you later. Bye.